Good morning, everyone. I am delighted to welcome you in this new interview of 30 Minutes With. 30 Minutes With is a series of interviews with policymakers, feminists, activists, and researchers on current African affairs. So today we want to discuss the current female genital mutilation law that is being discussed in the Gambia. And to do that, I have with me Jama Jack, who is Gambian feminist, well-known Gambian feminist, very passionate about feminist issues, to discuss that with us. But before starting, I would like to introduce you to Jama, who is a communications specialist, gender justice activist, and feminist storyteller from the Gambia. So actually, I discovered Jama while reading her blog. What's the name of your blog again, Jama?
Linger, which I haven't blogged on for a long time
now. But I think you have inspired a generation of African feminists. So Jama has over 10 years of professional experience in strategic communication, community engagement, and brand management. Jama is interested in the intersection between communication, community engagement, and social change, and uses her expertise and experiences to drive her work, especially in feminist and gender justice spaces. So I'm calling you Jama because of the French accent. I know it's Jama, so let's go by Jama.
That's Jama,
fine. Thank you so much for agreeing to discuss with us today.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to reconnect with you. I remember we showed your movie, or the movie you guys produced at the Ndajebi, one of the first feminist festivals in Dakar. And thank you so much for agreeing for us to show that movie. And we will come back to it later. But today I wanted to start by focusing on the FGM law, the female genital mutilation law that is being discussed in the Gambia. And that has been proposed 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago, by Almame Giba, who is a National Assembly member for Foni Councillor. So can you please, Jama, remind us of the steps that has been taken for that law to be currently rediscussed? I think all of us African feminists, or African women in general, have been really shocked and in disbelief to find out that there is an African country right now who is planning to go back and re-adopt this FGM law. Can you tell us about the steps that have been taken? Because it's not recent. I think you mentioned since August 2023, there has been a growing movement against organizing against it. But what has happened for it to be on the table right now?
I mean, I think it could go back as far as 2016 when we had a political transition in the Gambia. And so we had a new government, and this was about a year after the law was actually passed. So December to December. And in 2016 was when we had the elections. Yahya Jammeh was kicked out, and Adama Barrow was elected as president. 2017, he came into office after inauguration, so officially as president. And so it was really from that time that we started hearing, sentiments and rhetoric around the law, around FGM or against FGM in general, and rhetoric that sounded like this was a law that Yahya Jammeh brought to us. He's now gone. We've kicked him out, and we've kicked out his law with him. You started hearing people talking about he's gone, the law is no longer here, we're gonna go back to practicing FGM. And at the time, I remember one of the demands that a lot of feminist, women's rights organizations, civil society organizations, who were the ones who've really done the work over the past 30, 40 years to get us to the place where we even can talk about having a law in the country, then started calling on the new government to say, we need to hear your voices. We need to hear you take a public stance on this current conversation that's starting to pick up steam. And we want you to reiterate and stress out to the general public that laws are not individual property. It is not Yahya Jammeh's law. It is a law within the state of the Gambia that was passed in parliament. Yes, it came after a surprise announcement from Yahya Jammeh one morning where he just woke up, I guess in one of his moods or for whatever reason, decided I've banned FGM in the Gambia and pushed then for a law to be passed. But once the law was passed, it was legislation. And for me, I think the important thing to look at is the intent of the law. Mm-hmm. It is the purpose for which it was passed, and that this was also a thing that, you know, civil society groups had been advocating for long before this man woke up and decided this is going to happen. And especially within the context of the dictatorship that the Gambians were living under during the period of his administration. And so there were all of those calls for the government, the new government, to come out and say, this is a law that was passed using our processes. It is a law that remains. It is a law that will protect as a new, and it is a law whose implementation we will prioritize or we will facilitate. But that did not happen. And so it was a lot of mixed messaging. It was a lot of silence around the demands that we were making. And I think it's really what has fueled movement and coordination and organizing that has led us to what we then saw August last year. And so in August, a National Assembly member came into the parliament and brought this up, and was really using the argument of the people's right to practice their culture and their traditions, and that the law against FGM goes against or violates that right. And so that's an initial conversation that happened. There was a bit of debate in parliament on that day, and all of it also with reactions in August 2023. But then this was for one day. A lot of us knew it wasn't going to stop there. I think Parliament went into recess shortly after that. But a lot of us knew it wasn't going to stop there. The nature of the debate that happened in Parliament on that day, the number of voices that were supporting this argument, including from some of the female parliamentarians that we have at the National Assembly, was a signal to us that this wasn't just a conversation that was going to end on that day, and that they were going to move to present a private members bill at the National Assembly. And that is what actually happened. And so this year, what we're seeing is really just follow up from that first step last year. And so the bill has been introduced really with the intent of repealing the law against FGM in the Gambia right now. And an initial debate was held in Parliament, televised, live streamed, very difficult to watch, very disheartening to watch. And then there was a decision to move the bill over to the committee stage in line with the parliamentary processes. Just to note, there was an opportunity, if there was really the will and the intent, there was an opportunity to kill the bill right there on that day and say, this is not going to work, we're maintaining the law. But then they decided to move it to parliamentary stage. And so what's happening now is a series of consultations by not the parliamentary stage, the committee stage within the parliament. And so they're basically leading in terms of consultation of different partners and stakeholders, including those pushing for the repeal, but also talking to civil society, talking to community members, talking to religious leaders. And after the consultations, then they would, you know, provide a report, do recommendations, bring it back to the bigger parliament. And that is when we would know what the decisions could be. But yeah, that's what's happening at parliamentary level. But there's also the conversation that's very much fueled by Muslim religious leaders, backed by the Supreme Islamic Council in the country, who have been pushing like really dangerous rhetoric around FGM, and also very, very maybe intelligently on their part, crafting it as a fight to defend Islam in a country that's more than 95% Muslim. And so people are taking it personal. They're taking it as jihad, which is language that they have been using. And so what they're saying is we're defending our religion. There's also the rhetoric around, it's not FGM we practice in Gambia, it's FGC, as if there is a difference. So there's a lot of that has been happening. Civil society has been mobilizing, but the opposition has also been mobilizing. And so yeah, right now it's at consultation stage. The decision really lies with Parliament, and there's not a lot of voice. There's not enough voices we're hearing from within Parliament to signal that they stand with women and they stand to defend the integrity of this law that was passed within the same system that they are a part of now.
Thank you so much for this historical, Contextualization. I think this is really important because I think this is not coming out of the blue. There have been several signals. Even the law being currently discussed is a message that is being sent to women, all women.
Yeah.
And I think I have watched a video by, I don't know if he's an imam or maybe it's Abdullah Fatih himself. And he was saying, we are going to gather all women and children in a room. And without them knowing, we are going to practice FGM in all of them. And I think that was shocking. Was it him?
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that interview happened shortly after the last sitting in Parliament. So the media interviews that would usually happen, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's where that conversation happened. And we're going to find a place and we're going to gather all the people who want to practice FGM, or I would use the language of force their children through FGM, their daughters, and we will get this done and we will see what happens. And so that's also the level about it. Yeah, that's also the level of impunity we're dealing with. It's currently a debate on whether the law will be repealed or not, but already there's all of this happening and there are no consequences whatsoever for this man or for other people who are promoting FGM, even though the current law prohibits the promotion of the practice. And we're also aware that cases of FGM that are being reported to the police are reportedly being dismissed, supposedly because they have received executive directives to not address any FGM cases. So the question also that I have been sitting with is, even if there is a victory for us in terms of maintaining the law, the reality we have to confront is that there might not be the political will to make sure it is implemented. And so girls might continue to deal with the harm. They might continue to be forced to go through this practice and deal with the consequences it comes with. But that's where we are. People are openly promoting FGM. They're openly challenging the law, and there's no consequences whatsoever from the part of the government.
But even the very fact that it is being discussed, the very fact that there is impunity with the police not wanting to address those cases, I think there is already harm being done. Because there are maybe some children who are already going through it. And not being able to address it either legally or by any other means. So would you say that there is a rise of, Islamic or religious fundamentalism? Or is it just is it both of them? Traditional fundamentalism, conservatism, or is it the rhetoric of Islam itself that is being used?
I think it's a misrepresentation of Islam. And I think in a context like Gambia, Senegal, there usually is a very blurry line between religion and culture and traditions, right? Because we have mixed everything so much that people sometimes are unable to distinguish what is religion, what is cultural. And FGM is one of those issues. It is culture. It is a cultural practice. It is things that people have practiced. It's a thing that people have practiced as a tradition, but it is not a religious obligation, which is the narrative that they are leading with. But yes, it is absolutely tied to what I am making as a personal observation as a rise in Islamic, conservatism. I feel also that this is really just one piece out of a broader movement or effort to turn the Gambia into an Islamic state. If you listen to the rhetoric that is being shared by these people, if you look at activities that have happened since the Gambia's transition, including through consultations that were being done for the creation of a new constitution in the country, and very big debates around the issue of secularity and maintaining the country as a secular state, all of this is really just a build up to all those things that are happening. And we need to really just look at the region around us, look at what's happening in the Sahel, and we can't really remove what's happening in the Gambia from that big picture. And so it's very much tied to that. There are very clear intentions. There's rhetoric around, even with this FGM debate, we're a majority Muslim country. People even go as far as saying we're a Muslim country, we're an Islamic country, and we're going to do what works for the majority. And so the ultimate goal, and this is something that I always emphasize, this repeal of the FGM law is really just a pathway for them. The ultimate goal is really to turn the country into an Islamic state, to govern using Sharia law. And we know what that means for women and girls. and
Exactly.
other gender, sexual minorities, and just other vulnerable groups within the country.
Exactly. Thanks for this reminder. I think there is also broader steps being taken at the political level. If I remember, in February, President Barrow pardoned convicted murderers, rapists, and pedophiles. So, how does this fit into those, into this rise of fundamentalism? Is it at the highest level of the state that this is being condoned or promoted? Or
I think,
is it both, a rise of at the society's level, there is a rise of fundamentalism, which is met by a political unwillingness to address those issues, or even promoting by pardoning these pedophiles and so on. What is the message that is being sent?
I don't think this current government is serious about women's rights in the country. We've been very vocal about the criticism. We've been called all sorts of names. We've been called noisemakers. The reality is this government doesn't care about women and girls in the country. And even though under this government, a ministry of it used to be a ministry of women, but now Ministry of Gender, Children, Social Welfare was established. We can't really talk about what difference it has led to in the country in terms of the situation of women and girls, in terms of our progress and our advancement. Over the past 5 years, we've had very, very high profile cases of abuse, of rape, of GBV in the country, and there's been no action from the government. What we have seen instead is cases of political interference in some of these cases, unfortunately. And if anything, we can take that as a signal for where the government stands. And so even where some of this mobilization and radicalization is happening at a community level, the lack of willingness from the government to address it then fuels it, because it gives people the idea that they're above the law. It gives people the idea that they can do whatever they want. And so it gives them the courage, to continue pushing for what they're doing, to mobilize more people around the harmful messages that they're propagating. And so I think the government's inaction is directly connected to what success we're seeing these harmful movements achieve. And if we're not seeing them take a strong stance, and obviously there's political, implications for this. For example, with the National Assembly members, some of the things we know that are fueling this is really a bid for re-election in their constituencies. And so there's the language of, my people want this. If I don't give it to them, they're not going to re-elect me. And so it's really about their own political benefits over, the interests of women and girls, over the safety of women and girls, over the protection of women and girls. And so there's a very heavy political hand, but it's sometimes hard to really pinpoint it, because there's also the game that is played around how wonderful we look in the eyes of the international community. And so it's a situation of talking from both sides of the mouth, saying one thing here and doing the other thing over there. But in general, if we were to sum it up, mine is really just that this government doesn't care about women and girls. They care about their political expediency. They care about what gains they can get in terms of politics to be able to remain in the positions of power where they continue to enjoy whatever benefits they're enjoying right now. And there's not been a real signal to say we care about these things and we will fight to protect the integrity of the laws that have been passed in this country.
Thank you so much, Jama. I can imagine that in this context, it is not easy to be a self-identified feminist or feminist activists in the country. So can you tell me, how have fellow feminists, Gambian feminists, been feeling? Are they feeling safe in the country? What are their priorities right now?
It's a tough one. And I think I need to do disclosure that I'm not in the country. And so there's also that what I'm dealing with is deeply emotional, because this is work that I'm deeply attached to. I've done it for more than a decade now in the country, like very, very actively. But there's the people who are on the ground, who are going to the parliamentary sittings, who are facing these crowds that the people are mobilizing and bringing them to insult them, to attack them. And so as angry as I am, as irritated as I am, as annoyed as I am, as outraged as I am still in a sort of safe place.
Exactly.
And but then you think about it and it's really just physical. You go online, it's an onslaught of violence that feminists are dealing with. And even people who don't identify as feminists but have openly come out to take a stance and say we condemn, these efforts to repeal the law. So where we are now, you don't even have to consider yourself a feminist or name yourself a feminist to be on the receiving end, of some of these attacks. I've had people, working in the space who've had their pictures posted online. There's a lot of doxing that's happening. There's a lot of harassment that's happening. There's threats against their lives. There's threats against their livelihoods. There's threats against their safety. And so this is the environment that we are in. And because of the inaction from the government, that's picking up steam because people feel like they can get away with whatever they do. And so within the space, it's really trying to find a balance between ensuring we are safe, but also making sure the work continues, because now is a very critical point to make sure this doesn't pass.
Exactly.
But then it's how do you balance that with making sure we are safe, but also making sure we are well, because there's a very huge emotional toll where a lot of the people who are doing this work, whether openly or in private, are people who are survivors of FGM. Exactly. I am not one of them. And so, but then you see that distress. And so if I'm feeling this way about this issue, you think about what it means for the activists, for the organizers, for the champions who are out there, who have experienced this, who are probably still dealing with the impact of FGM on their lives and still having to do this work. And so it's a difficult place to be. It's a really, really hard place to be without the systems and the structures to support us, without the systems and the structures to provide, a safe space for us to be able to convene, to strategize, to go out there and do the work that we do. Sorry, there's even concerns around the community engagement that has been happening, even more since the law was passed, and people feeling like if we go into communities, it might no longer be safe for us to have these conversations because of what's happening with the law right now. And so it's a really difficult place, but one thing feminists will do is to come together. One thing we will do is build solidarity among ourselves. One thing that people would do is really find space for community with everything that comes with, because it's also really complex and layered, and there's all the stuff that happens within our spaces as well. But what I've seen really is Gambian feminists coming together to provide support in our little groups, in bigger, spaces, individually with, people that we know, people that we work with. And that's how we've always really saved one another. That's how we've protected one another. And it's really what we're seeing, in addition to all of the work that's happening around raising awareness, trying to mobilize resources, trying to draw attention to the issue, just the many different ways in which people are contributing towards making sure that this does not happen. And we're able to safeguard the law from now through to the future.
Can you say that this has radicalized you, or were you already radicalized?
I've been radical. I've been radicalized from childhood. It's difficult to live in the context that we are in and have the awareness that I've been privileged to have and not be radicalized. And I understand that it's a journey and people are at different levels of their feminist journeys. But for me, if anything, it's it's a super radicalization, because like you said, we know this is not just the end. If they succeed with this, it's going to be steps to come for other laws. If they don't succeed, they're not going to let up. They're going to try again and try again and try again until they get what they want. And so whatever position we need to take right now is supposed to be a radical position, because they're very radical in terms of how they're approaching their demands. And so, we also need to be really radical in terms of what solutions we're preparing, what actions we want to take, but also just how we respond to the BS that they're pushing, towards us. So, the radicalization happened a long time, but every day with things that are happening, there's a renewal of, that spirit to say, we'll keep fighting.
Thank you, Jama.
Yeah.
And to keep fighting, what would be your last word for African feminists listening to you, for the feminists in the Sahel region in particular, and for all the feminists wherever they may be in the world? What is your message? How can they show solidarity? How can they support Gambian feminists right now?
I think one of the things, it's really, again, back to that word, it's to build solidarity with us. And create a space for us to build solidarity again. I think there's never been a more important time than transnational solidarity within the African feminist movement, because of everything that's happening in all of it. So even beyond the Sahel, everything that's happening everywhere, on this continent should be a reason for us to build transnational solidarity. And so my message is really that: amplify the voices of Gambians. And just a point to also say, sometimes solidarity, if we're not careful, can very much look like co-option. Yes. It can look like the erasure of the voices of the people who are affected by these issues. I would say also, for those who are coming in to share solidarity, it's recognizing when to step back and let the people whose voices need to be heard in this moment be the ones that we hear. And so on this issue, let's continue to hear the voices of Gambians. I make this my practice, where as much as possible, as much as I can, where there are opportunities, I'm like, I did not go through FGM. I'm going to connect you to an FGM survivor in the space, so they tell their own story. If there's a need to talk about the specific work that I do, I go ahead and do that. But I think our solidarity should be rooted in, an ideal of not taking up the space that we can cede for the people who have, personal experiences of these issues, to come forward and share their own experiences, tell their stories in their own words, but also make sure they're telling it in ways that preserve their dignity, that preserve their honor, and they're sharing in the ways that they want. Because we've had the thing where I have people around me who are like, I'm not a victim. I survived this. I'm a survivor. I don't want to be called a victim. And so creating that space allows people to name themselves how they want, to share the parts of their stories that they want to share, and to do it when, where, and how they want to. And so, just a lot of solidarity. There's been gaps in terms of financial resources to be able to do the work. I think a lot of us are dealing, even if we don't say so loudly, dealing with the fatigue of, people like, we're in solidarity, we want to support, but then we're like, funding is what we need to be able to move forward and do this work. And it's like, oh, we can't, And so it's really, those connections are what we need. The work is being led and coordinated by the Network Against Gender-Based Violence in the Gambia, that has set up a CSO coalition that's been working on this and doing incredible work. And so I would say, let's direct support to the Network Against Gender-Based Violence and help to strengthen its coordinating mechanism as well, so that we're speaking with one voice. We're moving from a perspective of coherence and understanding of what it is that we really want. And so, but also thank you. There's been a lot of love, a lot of support, a lot of solidarity that's been extended to us. And so just thank you to everyone. We're together. All of our struggles are interconnected and interlinked. And we can't do this without you all, just like you all may need us for your struggles as well. And so for African feminists, let's continue to be in solidarity as we fight this difficult fight.
Thank you so much, Jama, for being so inspirational as well. I have been following you, and really, your voice, your words, you have always been so talented at finding the right words.
Thank you.
So I have been missing your writing, and I hope you will be, gratifying with your writings soon. I hope you remain inspired. I hope you remain inspired, because you have inspired many of us. And what you said is really important, because we often think of, giving voice to the voiceless. There's no such thing as voiceless people. There are only deliberately silenced people. So thank you so much for what you said. We don't need to ventriloquize Gambian feminists. We need to amplify their voices, and we also need to give them space to organize and to support in the way they desire us to. You desire us to. So thank you so much, Jama.
And especially the survivors of this and the girls who are still at risk, who come from the communities that will experience this. Let's continue to create space for them to be heard.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jama. I think this was important.
Thank you,
Rama.
Rama.
We'll make sure to amplify as much as possible.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.